In 1556, the sudden death of Emperor Humayun left the Mughal presence in India on the verge of collapse. Rival factions and regional powers immediately began reclaiming territory, threatening to erase the Mughal line entirely. At the center of this instability was Jalal-ud-Din Muhammad Akbar. He was only 13 years old when he inherited a crown that many expected him to lose within months. The threats were immediate. The Afghan warrior Hemu had already captured the strategic hubs of Delhi and Agra, effectively stripping the young emperor of his most important capital cities. Historically, most dynasties in this position vanished. Yet, over the next 5 decades, Akbar would not only reclaim these lands, but establish a state with a level of internal stability that was previously thought impossible. His success relied on a shift away from traditional warfare. To understand how he secured the subcontinent, we have to examine the specific administrative and social frameworks he designed to replace the chaos of the battlefield. The early years of Akbar's reign were defined by survival. Under the guidance of his regent, Bairam Khan, the Mughal military focused on aggressive, direct confrontations to secure their core holdings. This painting depicts the Second Battle of Panipat in 1556. Mughal forces defeated Hamer's army, securing Delhi and Agra. Following this, the military expanded rapidly, taking Malwa in 1561 and the commercial ports of Gujarat by 1572. However, these conquests were difficult to maintain. Constant rebellions in newly taken provinces showed that military occupation was an expensive and temporary solution to governance. Akbar recognized that the empire required a more sustainable structure. He began moving away from a strategy of constant expansion toward a model of integrated, centralized administration. To manage his vast holdings, Akbar restructured the government into specialized ministries, creating separate departments for finance, the military, law, and public works. This ensured that every aspect of the state was supervised by a central authority. This was the Mansabdari System, transforming independent warriors into ranked state officials, directly dependent on the emperor. Through the Jagirdari system, they were paid with specific land grants, tying the nobility's wealth to the empire's economic stability. But for this system to work, the empire needed a reliable way to measure and collect agricultural wealth across thousands of villages. This gold coin represents the economic standardization Akbar brought to the empire. He implemented the Dasala system, which set tax rates based on a 10-year average of local crop yields and prices, providing a predictable income for the state and the peasantry. By standardizing finance and bureaucracy, Akbar centralized power. Local leaders could no longer easily raise private armies or withhold taxes, as they were now cogs in a larger imperial machine. The most significant challenge remained social. The Mughals were a Muslim minority governing a massive and diverse Hindu majority. Akbar addressed this through a policy of inclusion. He established political treaties and marriage alliances with the Rajput states, integrating powerful local leaders into the highest levels of Mughal government. In 1564, he took the significant step of abolishing the jizya tax on non-Muslim subjects. By removing this financial burden, he reduced a primary source of social friction and gained the support of the general population. These policies were formalized under Sulh-i-Kul, or universal peace. The red sandstone pavilions of Fatehpur Sikri visually reflected the spirit of religious and cultural coexistence. At the Ibadat Khana, Akbar hosted debates between scholars of various faiths. These discussions allowed him to examine different theological views and find common ground between his subjects' diverse beliefs. He even introduced the Deen Ilahi in 1582, an attempt to synthesize moral elements from different religions into a single code. While it did not gain widespread following, it signaled a state commitment to religious harmony. These moves effectively removed the incentives for religious uprising. By treating his subjects as partners in the empire, Akbar neutralized internal opposition more effectively than any army could. The stability created by these reforms sparked a cultural period, marked by the blending of Persian and Indian traditions in architecture, music, and the arts. This era was exhaustively documented by court historian Abul Fazl in the Akbarnama. These records provide a detailed look at the administration, allowing the empire to function efficiently. This map shows the empire's reach by 1605. At the end of Akbar's reign, his territory covered nearly all northern and central India, From Kabul to Bengal, these borders remained secure due to systems he spent half a century refining. His successors, Jahangir and Shah Jahan, inherited a state that was not just large, but operationally sound, allowing the Mughal dynasty to remain the dominant power in India for the next century. Akbar's success was defined by replacing individual martial skill with an integrated administrative and social framework supporting the dynasty's long-term stability.